Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Software Engineer K here, and today we're going to be going through a very big video update. Now, I've been waiting for this one for a while, just for the team to clarify for everyone out there what their company restructuring and scaling looks like. Fortunately, the most recent community update that David, Dan and Alex covered for us, they went through the current company scaling, kind of who they have in these new roles, and how that's going to kind of affect the timelines and features moving forward. Now, it is going to affect my personal prediction for the company in the short to mid-term. You guys know I've been quite outspoken about what I feel like is going to be happening in the market short to mid-term anyway. But in the long term, I still do believe regardless that VeVe is going to dominate the market in the long term. But I think it's really important to cover these just because, these different aspects of how this company scales and grows is really good to understand, just so that you can kind of feel more confident in the longevity of the business. Now, this video is going to be quite technical, so just letting you guys know in advance. But first off, we are just going to go through a clip of the most recent community update and exactly what Dan had to say to that as well.
Yeah, I think I mentioned previously, the team at VeVe is always growing to, keep up with the demand. And we've had a couple of very talented people join the team recently. One guy by the name of Mitch, who has come on as our product director. He has, 15 years experience in product management and product development. And his job really is to head up the actual build of the features, getting them planned into our various sort of development cycles. And, one of the great things about having Mitch come on board is, he's so ordered, and, I think he's got, the development cycles planned out, right until Q1 next year. So the real positive upshot of this is that, as our dev teams get more organized, we're able to, meet timelines, and heaven forbid, even maybe give timelines for specific features to come out, which is like, whoa.
So that is extremely important. Now, as you guys kind of saw there, Dan gave us a bit of a breakdown in terms of the changes that they've made. So what do those changes mean? Well, firstly, they now have a proper product manager in play, and essentially this is something that I had kind of spoken about to the team, just to understand the hierarchy in the company, and as Dan kind of says later on, they were going a little bit ad hoc. There were product managers in place, but it wasn't like a dedicated role. It was people kind of multitasking and just being as accountable as they could for their own kind of oversight over the different aspects of the application. But what does that mean? So they've brought on board someone with 15 years experience in product management to kind of oversee what's going on. So what is a product manager when it comes to VeVe? So just as a short kind of definition, a product manager is a person who identifies the customer need and the larger business objectives that a product or feature will fulfill, articulates what success looks like for a product, and rallies a team to turn that vision into a reality. So just to kind of sum up what it means, there is someone who needs to essentially be accountable to the business and customers, understand what their needs are, and that person needs to then kind of be the liaison between the developers and kind of convert what the customer and what the business wants into features that the developers can work on to deliver those those features. So having that liaison is really important, because oftentimes the developers aren't really going to talk directly to business, and they're definitely not going to be talking directly to the customers. So you need someone there who kind of really understands how to communicate between the people with the development team. And once you have that in place, things will start to be timelined and estimated a lot more efficiently. Things will start to get delivered more effectively. You'll be able to prioritize just on the fly, and that is essentially what is known as agile development. And that's something that again is really important. So there's different types of development. For example, Scrum, there's Kanban as well, where you kind of essentially just work endlessly, and the overview of agile, you can kind of understand how it works. But a key part of it is estimation. So just to clarify this for you guys, every software team has a process they use to complete work. Normalizing the process, establishing it as a workflow makes it clearly structured and repeatable, which in turn makes it scalable. So often, one of the hardest things is estimating. Like, estimating is extremely difficult. And we've seen with VeVe, it's always been tricky. For example, here, right? Estimation is hard. For software developers, it's among the most difficult, if not the most difficult aspects of the job. It must take into account a slew of factors that help product owners make decisions that affect the entire team and the business. With all that at stake, it's no wonder everyone from developers to upper management is prone to getting their undies in a bunch about it. So, estimation is probably the hardest thing. So if the team goes out and gives you a deadline and they miss, it's not unique to them. It happens everywhere. And, the complexity of this product means that they are more likely to kind of misestimate. And the way to get around it is to have a very, very good product manager and, ensuring that you leave enough room for unplanned work as well. Things go wrong, bugs happen, emergencies come around, changes in regulation, all of that stuff you need to predict for it. So again, that's going to affect your estimates. So I would say you don't need to kind of antagonize the team over missing estimates. It is, they are ultimately a tech company, and this is extremely important. But with having Mitch on board now, that kind of, occurrence of underestimating or overestimating things should start to kind of tighten down, and we shouldn't see it as often. But just on that point, they have also hired a new CTO, and that person was, not actually advertised, it was handpicked. And they've been fully onboarded now. So again, CTO plays an extremely, extremely important role. The CTO is all about kind of driving those key important features, hiring the right people for the kind of the job, essentially, the technical team. And essentially, working alongside the founders to kind of deliver what would be the right thing at the right time across this, quite extensive roadmap. So again, they're very heavily involved in the strategic part of it. And I know, just from having spoken to one of their lead developers, that their new CTO, he isn't necessarily like a technical focused CTO, is more of a kind of management and scaling focused CTO, which is the exact position that the company is in now. The company is now in a position where they're ready to scale. And this is where a lot of the kind of things that people wanted, we're going to start to see. So a big part of it is obviously getting the platform ready for a mass market audience. So what some might describe as building in the bear market, that's essentially what we're going to start seeing a lot more of. And then in the next bull market, if the foundations are there in place, then it's all good. They're ready to handle that kind of mass influx of new users, entirely new kind of round of people to this space. So interestingly enough, I have noticed that one of the roles has been filled, and also I'm not sure if this was like this before, but I think they've updated this. So now only one of the roles is contracted, the other two are full-time. And getting contracted developers is easier, and for a company it's safer as well in terms of the kind of legal aspects, because if you hire someone full-time, it's there is a bit more of a nuance there when you want to, if you do have to get rid of them. So a lot of companies, it's just easy, safe for them to hire contracted people to work on specific features. But it's good to see VeVe is now hiring more full-time people as well. So that is great. That's good for the company as well. So overall, I am pretty happy with where they're going. So in terms of my mid to short-term prediction, I believe we are now going to start to see key features with estimates where if they do miss it, I don't think they'll miss it by much, rather than saying next quarter and then we just don't see it for like 6 months. We should start to see more in terms of the marketing side towards the community. So right now, when they're working on something, we don't really hear too much of what they're working on. Moving forward, I believe we are going to see kind of maybe every 2 weeks exactly what the development team's been working on. Just a kind of layman's term breakdown, which I, having spoken to some members of the development team, that's something that they have, wanted to do, just haven't done it yet. So hopefully we'll start to see more of that. But I would say overall, I am very, very pleased. Obviously, this now will result in people having a bit more confidence in terms of their timelines and delivery, because right now that is where people lose the most confidence is, how can I trust you if I trust you to deliver, 5 things on time and you missed the deadlines on all of them. So kind of rebuilding that trust, and then obviously when those new users come in, they won't have kind of, seen this process. They will just see what is there at that point in time. So hopefully all of the foundations there are nice and ready to go. And lastly, what I'll do is I'll leave off on this message. So Alfred Khan, he is the head of licensing at VeVe and ECOMI, and he says this, right? So congratulations to VeVe for their winning a New Zealand International Business Award for 2022 for extraordinary growth in emerging business. Archiving over $1.2 billion in users to user sales and having many of the world's leading brands trust their IP to us. That's really, really important. Many of these top tier brands have trusted ECOMI to kind of manage these brands properly, and obviously that wasn't a short process. David, you recently said one of their most biggest ever deals, it took them about 2 years to sign, and it's finally done. So that's I'm excited to see what it is. And Alfred Khan says, I take great pride in my role of helping them acquire a lot of these brands and hope to continue with them in this process. So just for those people who said Alfred Khan is a myth, he doesn't exist, he's not really helping them, he does play an active role in the company. And he says it took Amazon many more years to reach like $1 billion in sales. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and they must continue to run faster and harder than all their competitors. So Alfred Khan laying down some really, really important points. Now again, this is a new space. Obviously, the sales and whatnot, that doesn't translate exactly to money for the company. As we know, there are a lot of overheads, but either way, what they've done to date is an absolutely unreal achievement. I just can't stress enough, what they've achieved is only 0.001, a tiny fraction of successful companies will accomplish. So if you don't have belief now, then at the end of this video, with a bit more research, you should definitely have belief in the longevity of this project. So or longevity of this company, I should say. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And next week I will be in LA, just to let you guys know. So I am very, very excited for that. So I'll be exhibiting at DesignerCon London. I'll be doing some live streams and meeting up with some of the community as well. So looking forward to that. But yeah, that's everything I have to go through to you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe to support the content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.